Come on and wake up. Listen to your heart now. See what's going on. We can make it together. We can find a way.
Welcome back. I am Tia Turnbull of Champion of Champions Coaching. This is Keep It 100, creating emotionally safe space while we shelter in place. So, what are shadows? You may have heard this term before. It was originally coined by Carl Jung, a psychotherapist.
We all
Aspects
have
of attributes, qualities, personality, ways of being, emotions, characterizations, character traits. Actually, that's a good word. So traits, ways of being, and the difference between who you are and what you learned to be. So
shadows are the attributes, qualities, and traits people disidentify with and hide from the world.
We now judge and push down inside ourselves. You know a person and they have all these particular attributes and traits and qualities, and you say, this is who this person is. And you know someone else who's very different from that, and you say, this is who this person is. So in all of our past experiences, we have learned to act out particular character traits and qualities and attributes, and to deny particular qualities, traits, and attributes in ourselves. The truth of us is all the attributes, all the qualities, all the characteristics, all the traits are available to all of us, to everybody. But
all the attributes, qualities, and traits we identify with, we choose to express to the world. And our shadow is all the attributes, qualities, and traits that we deny in ourselves and repress down inside ourselves and hide from the world.
Take, for instance, little girls and little boys. We do teach little girls to act out certain things, and we teach little boys to act out certain things. And what are little girls taught are character traits that little girls get rewarded for acting out. Maybe for being kind and sweet and pretty and helping, being a good girl, right? And then what are the character traits, qualities, and attributes that little boys are rewarded for? Little boys are told that they should be adventurous and outgoing and physical and opinionated. Because we all have these ideas of the traits and characteristics that are okay to have and the traits and characteristics that are not okay to have. These are the bad ones and these are the good ones, right? So we were taught this through reward and punishment about what we're supposed to be and what we're not supposed to be. But we now judge and push down inside ourselves. The things that were missing in people, those were their shadows. Shadows are attributes and qualities and traits that you had when you were 2 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old, but you got punished for them, so you threw them down. It's like this gunny sack that you're dragging behind you, and all those personality traits that you were told you weren't supposed to be, like boys aren't supposed to be sweet and kind and emotional, right? You got to throw that down in your backpack and go play football, and I don't want to see you crying. You get out there and you suck it up, right? That's all the things that we shadowed are aspects of our wholeness. And so now we're all walking around feeling like we're not whole, we're not good enough. Because the attributes and qualities and traits that were gifted to all of us from the time we came into this world, they were all available to all of us. All right, and then we meet people, and some people are opinionated, and some people we might call arrogant, some people we call kind or sweet, or direct, or weak, or scared, or timid, or shy, or outgoing, or vivacious, or social butterfly. So these are all ways of being, right? And we all learn different ways of being. We all take on what works for us, and we try to hide the things that we got punished for. So little boys are not supposed to be sissies, and they're not supposed to try to look pretty, and they're not supposed to act like little girls, and little girls are not supposed to act like little boys. Not all parents reward and punish the same for different characteristics and qualities. But basically, a lot of times, little boys are taught that they're supposed to have certain characteristics and they're supposed to hide the other ones away. And little girls are taught the opposite. Whatever little boys are supposed to be, little girls are not supposed to be. And whatever little boys are not supposed to be, little girls are supposed to be. Now that's very that's stereotypical, right? So that's not across the board, that's not everybody. And it's the reason why little boys are given G.I. Joe with a gun in his hand, and little girls are given little dolls to take care of little baby dolls, right? So most parents don't buy their little boy a baby doll in a little pink thing so he can feed it and you know, all that. And most little girls are not given a G.I. Joe with a gun in his hand. Okay. So some people would say, well, that's just natural to little boys, and that's just natural to little girls. That's what boys are supposed to do, and what girls are supposed to do. So that's supposed to, like a should. So I want to tell you about an experience I had when I was doing coaches training. There was about maybe 20 people in the room, and we had gotten to know each other over some weekends, and this might have been about our third weekend on the second day. So by this time, we already had the people in the room. Each person, you know, you meet people, and then based on their personality, you either like them and feel attracted to them, or you don't like them and you want to avoid them, or you're repelled by them. So all of us in life have some people that we really like and feel attracted to, and other people that we really feel repelled by. Well, it's not the person they are, it's these personality characteristics, attributes, and traits that they are acting out. It's not who they are, it's what they've learned to be. And this is how I found this out. So what we did is on this particular day, when we already had gotten to know each other pretty much, and we started building, you know, the friendships and who we knew who each other was. The leaders of the group went around the group and they picked a person one by one. So they picked the first person and said, okay, so this is Steve. All right, so what does everybody already know about Steve? You know, Steve's opinionated. Steve's intelligent. He dresses really nice. He goes out of his way for people. You know, so, all right, so they say everything that's very easy to recognize and observe in Steve. Okay, and then they say, what is it you feel like Steve's missing? What's not in Steve? All right, so then people say things like, well, he's never scruffy or casual. He's always, you know, held up very straight, and he always seems to speak in perfect sentences, and he never seems to just spit it out, like just let his mind just do whatever, or just relax a little bit. So he's never relaxed, all right? So they get a good feeling of what they feel might be characteristics that Steve does not express, what's missing in Steve, and then Steve has to wear a name tag with that particular character on it. So maybe, who's a slouchy? Maybe like a couch potato. Yeah, all right. So they write couch potato on something and on a name tag, and Steve has to wear it for the rest of the weekend. And everybody has to treat Steve like he's a couch potato, and Steve has to act like a couch potato. So after they come up with that particular personality that seems to be missing in Steve, Steve has to get up in front of the group and act it out. You know, oh, give me a beer. God, I just feel like laying around today. Whatever it is. But he has to do it until the group really sees that he's got it. Like he's really acting that out. Okay? And then they go to the next person. Steve sits down and they go to the next. Okay. All right, so here's Brenda. All right. What is it you notice about Brenda? Oh, Brenda's always so kind. She always compliments and says nice things. She's really sweet and quiet, and is always supportive and loving, right, to everything. She makes everybody feel good and happy, right? Okay, and then say, well, what seems to be missing in Brenda? What are the attributes and qualities and traits that you'd like to see more of in Brenda that she doesn't seem to be expressing at all? Well, she never gives her opinion. She never just directly says, this is how I feel. She never just tells it like it is. You always kind of wonder, what is she's thinking in there as she's being so kind and nice? Does she ever have any negative thoughts at all? I mean, can't she just ever just let herself be rude, and then they come up with a character that suits that characterization that seems to be missing in Brenda. So they come up with, motorcycle bitch or rude bitch. That's actually what they gave me. They gave me rude bitch. So I had to get up in front of the group and act really rude and really mean. And so I guess I was kind of like Brenda. Anyway, it was a name tag that Brenda would wear. And then they went and they did that for every person around the room. Okay. So now, you already felt like there were certain people that you liked and felt attracted to. And now they had to act the opposite of what you felt attracted to. They had to put on a name tag of someone you wouldn't like at all. And the really, kind of opinionated people, they had to be like Tiny Tim tipping through the tulips and sweet and kind and all this. So the people you didn't like before, all of a sudden you started liking them. They're like, oh, I could like this person. And the people that you already liked, you're like, well, I'm not going to not like them because I know they don't need to do this. They have to do it for this exercise, right? So what you realized was that all the people you didn't like, you now like, and all the people you already like, you didn't choose to not like just because they had to act like this other person. But what happened was, before there were all these dynamics of attraction and repulsion, and who I like and who I don't like, and who I want to partner up with and who I don't want to have anything to do with, because we all had these ideas of the traits and characteristics that are okay to have and the traits and characteristics that are not okay to have. These are the bad ones and these are the good ones, right? So we were taught this through reward and punishment about what we're supposed to be and what we're not supposed to be. But when everybody was acting out of these opposite things that were missing in them before, all of a sudden, it was like this peace came over the room. It was like, there's nobody here I don't like anymore. I like everybody. And the realization I had was, these things that we are acting out and behaving as, they're not the truth of us. They're not who we really are. They are what we learn to do. Who we learn to be through reward and punishment, whether it be by our parents or our community, the people in our school, their teachers, whoever communicated to us that we should be certain things and we're not supposed to be other things. So I realized that everybody is just acting out of what they learned to be, not who they really are. And this is really important. Okay, so the things that were missing in people, those were their shadows. Shadows are attributes and qualities and traits that you had when you were 2 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old, but you got punished for them, so you threw them down. It's like this gunny sack that you're dragging behind you, and all those personality traits that you were told you weren't supposed to be, like boys aren't supposed to be sweet and kind and emotional, right? You got to throw that down in your backpack and go play football, and I don't want to see you crying. You get out there and you suck it up, right? That's how little boys are treated. So they got to carry all those empathy and emotionality and sweetness. They got to shove it down in that backpack and carry it behind them. And little girls, it's like, I don't want to hear your opinion. You need to smile when you talk to me. You need to be sweet. You need to be kind, and you need to do what I tell you, and you need to multitask, and you go get me something when I ask for it. Do what I want. So little girls have to put away their me thing. This is for me. I want this for me, and I want this. It's like, you got to put your needs away. You got to put your wants away, and you got to do what I tell you. And little boys, you got to put your needs away, you got to put your wants away, and you got to do what I tell you. All right? So we're walking around the world already all carved up and expressing the things that we think we're supposed to in order to do well in life, and pushing down the things that we think we're supposed to in order to do well in life. So these are our shadows, these aspects that we have hidden away. And because we've hidden them away, because we got the message that this characteristic, that this trait, that this quality, that this attribute is not something that you are supposed to express in order to be okay, because I have that message, if I can't be it, you're not allowed to be it either. If I'm judging it in me, it's not okay for you to be it either, right? So sometimes First thing is all attributes are okay. All attributes are good. But we label them good and bad. So I heard, I think it was Deepak Chopra said that whatever it is we are denying becomes our fate. Because we keep moving away from certain things, but it keeps coming up in our face. It's like this beach ball that you're pushing down in the water, and it keeps popping back up in your face. And you're trying to push it down, and you're trying to push it down. But it's always there waiting for you to embrace it and to be okay with it. So these shadows that we have, they create energies in our lives that's calling upon us to re-embrace them back in our lives so we can be a whole person and we can be with anything that shows up, that we can be okay with it. But we're pushing at things and fighting with things and judging things and getting mad about things because that's what we learned is okay and that's what we learned is good. But all the things that we shadowed are aspects of our wholeness. And so now we're all walking around feeling like we're not whole, we're not good enough. Because the attributes and qualities and traits that were gifted to all of us from the time we came into this world, they were all available to all of us. We now judge and push down inside ourselves. So that's why we don't feel whole, because we need to re-embrace those back into our lives. We need to, so when you see somebody that you just can't stand, it's not the person, it's the attribute and the quality that they're expressing that you can't stand. And so that becomes your teacher. You say, well, what is it I can't stand in you? Oh, I can't stand this sweetness and kindness. It's so sugary sweet. It's got to be fake, right? Well, where in me do I judge that in me? Where is it that I don't allow myself to be sweet? Where is it I don't allow myself to be kind, right? Or you see somebody and you say, oh, they're so rude. They're always giving their opinion. Why do they always have to give their opinion? Well, where in me do I not allow myself to give my own opinion? This is what shadows are. So, as we go through our lives, we are attracting things to us and repelling things. Now, what's I think a sad fate that we have created through these extreme judgments of particular attributes and extreme judgments of particular personality traits, characteristics, and ways of being. The sad thing is we cannot stand people that express them, and there's no judgment to be had by who expresses what, because that's just what everybody learned to be and to do. So what happens is, you know how they say men and women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them. It's not the person you can't live with, it's the way of being, because you were taught to judge that in another person. So when a woman shows up in her full trained program of womanhood, at first you're like, woohoo! Opposites attract. I'm so attracted to that. She's going to make me feel whole by bringing all her loving, womanly, feminine characteristics into my life. Woo! You complete me. Ah, right? The sad thing is, you're really judging all those things because you were taught that those things are not okay. And you might think, you say, well, it's okay for a woman, but not for me. But no, you might have got the crap beat out of you by acting those things out. So eventually you're going to judge it in that other person. And even if she's being the full-on woman who you think completes you, eventually you're going to be judging her for the very things that you think you invited her into your life for. And she's going to do the same for you. She's going to say, oh, he's so masculine, and oh, he's my hero, and oh, he takes care of things with his mind and comes up with solutions. And eventually she's going to say, can't you just relax and have a little bit of fun? You're going to get on each other's nerves because of those attributes, traits, and qualities that you cannot stand in each other. And so, instead of polarizing yourselves and saying, you need to be more like me, no, you need to be more like me, you need to be more like me, you need to be more like me, instead of doing this and pushing yourselves away from each other where you can't stand each other, let that person be your teacher. You know, I talked about switching roles. Let them teach you. If you don't know how to be kind and understanding, let them show you how. And if you don't know how to be opinionated and strong and direct, let them show you how. And then instead of polarizing yourself and moving further and further and further away, you're going to become closer to each other because you're going to be able to embrace some of those personality characteristics and traits that you have been taught to judge in yourself. And the closer you become to each other, the more whole you each become. The point of a relationship is not to find someone that completes you, because if you're looking for someone that completes you, you're always going to be half a person added to their half a person to make one person. That's two half a people becoming one. No, that's not what you want. You want two half a people becoming two. That person makes you more whole because you learn from what they're expressing, so you can express that yourself. And they learn from you, from what you're expressing, so they can express that themselves. And then 1 + 1 = 2. Instead of half plus half equals 1. 1 + 1 = 2. And then you're two whole people that can get along with each other and bring all the wonderful qualities and characteristics and traits and embrace in yourself, embrace in the other. And then you won't be polarized and arguing about stuff all the time. You'll actually become closer to each other. So that's shadows. And you can do that without another person. You can actually ask yourself, what is it I can't stand? And then there is a YouTube video that I use to embrace a bunch of shadows, where I did a guided meditation, and I don't remember the name of it right now, but you can look it up on YouTube. It's about a guided meditation for embracing shadows. And you go through where you meet these aspects and qualities of yourselves, and you see them, like you see a dark character, and they look suspicious, and then you embrace that suspiciousness back into your character, and you become more like that. Or you see a flighty, happy person who's, flying around like a social butterfly, and you embrace that ability back into your character. And then you expand your ability to express yourself in so many ways, your ability to be with whatever is out in the world without having these negative, electrical, judgmental, chemical charges around them. So embracing shadows is a powerful thing for you to do. It makes your life better, because the things you used to judge, you now see as not negative anymore. But that's enough for now, because it's a huge subject and there's so much on it. Oh, as a matter of fact, when I first learned about shadows in the coach's training, I was fascinated by it and I wanted to learn more. And there's this book called Meeting the Shadow, The Hidden Power of the Dark Side of Human Nature. And dark doesn't mean evil. Dark just means you're not looking at it. You're not putting the light of your consciousness on it so you can understand it with your conscious mind. It's down in the subconscious, back in that gunny sack where you're dragging it behind you and you're not even aware of it. But it's in there playing upon you without you knowing it. So this is all about, I thought this was fascinating when I first found this. I think I found this so long ago. The amazing thing is a lot of these people of books that I read, I can now listen to them on YouTube. But these people, this is a compilation, what is it, an anthology, I guess it's called. It's a collection of, what does that say? Contributors. It's a collection of a whole bunch of different authors talking about the idea of the shadow. So it wasn't just Carl Jung. It was so many people that picked up on this idea. So this is Jung, Robert Bly, Joseph Campbell, Harville Hendricks, Maggie Scarf, John Bradshaw, James Hillman, Susan Griffith, Ken Wilber. A ton of people writing about this same idea of the shadow. So it's very prevalent in our culture. It's great for you to understand it. It's great for you to get to know it, so you can get to know yourself and you can expand your ability to be with more in the world. And I'm telling you, you're going to be more powerful, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more expansive, you're going to enjoy more things, you're just going to have a much more ability to express more in your life, and it's going to add so much to your life. So get to know your shadow, get to know about shadows, and yeah, that's shadows. Thanks for joining me. I'm Tia Turnbull, a champion of champions. This is Keep It 100, creating emotionally safe space while you shelter in place so you can get along with your family and raise the energy in the environment in your home. That was shadows, attributes, traits, qualities, and realizing that the way people act is not who they are, It's just what they learned. And you can get over it to see the truth of that person behind all these little aspects that we like and judge and don't like. So again, that's Shadows. I'm Tia Turnbull. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be notified of more of these videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy yourself, champion yourself to be a champion.
Come on and wake up. Listen to your heart now. See what's going on. We can make it together.